Hey guys, just a quick one. Out in the Jag now. Been testing it all day pretty much. Just had a night out with the fam and that. Made sure everything was running, the car was running right, no oils, no spills or anything. She's running absolutely beautiful. What prompted me to change the gasket in the first place was because it kept on getting stuck in second gear. So after like hard acceleration, it kept on having an issue where it just wouldn't go from second gear and it would just stay on it until I reset the car, turn it off and turn it back on again, and then it was back to normal. Always finding that it was like the transmission was very jerky and that as well, so it just wasn't good. Oh, got a tunnel. You know the drill when you got a tunnel. Second gear bang. Oh, such a fucking child. Right, and yeah, it was quite easy to work on. Like I say, at the bottom of it is 6 bolts, fairly straightforward. All I could say is watch out for is make sure that your hex screws, your Allen key screw is directly in with it. Like, you do not want to thread these bolts because it would be a pain in the ass to re-drill it. You have to get someone else to re-tap it for you, or you can hopefully do it yourself, then that'll save you the headache, but you don't want to avoid that at all cost. But yeah, it was fairly straightforward. I say it was a pretty messy job. I'll say it's probably as easy as doing an oil change. I would not recommend having a full flush if your car hasn't been regularly serviced with the transmission, just because like of the issue with the solenoids and all that. You don't really want old debris being pushed through and then blocking the solenoids with these automatic transmission. I think that goes for all automatic transmissions pretty much. We got to the solenoid cover and that. I was going to take it apart, but this is my daily as well, so I didn't want to risk taking that off and then tightening the other bolts, which could have easily been done. The only issue I came in contact with is when I talked up to the spec of 11 newton meters around, did the sequence and everything around it as well, I found that the oil started seeping out of it. So I went just under there whilst it was still pissing out, and just did a quarter turn on each, and after that she ran absolutely beautifully. She's been running right since. I was starting to get a little bit of fluid from the top, and I think that was coming from the dipstick holder, and I just pushed the dipstick back down and it popped back into place, and now I have no leaks, so happy days. Right, enjoy the video guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. So it's pretty straightforward change really. There's only like 6 bolts on the outside, you have spaces on each one to like sort out. I'll just put the new filter in. The old filter just pops straight out. I think behind this panel here they'll have all the solenoids, but I've tightened all the ones on the outside, front and back, and there's one in the centre there, and there's a couple here, just because like of vibration loose. I was going to take all of this out, but I don't really want to risk messing up with the solenoids at the moment, just because I still need to run this daily. But yeah, it was pretty straightforward. It's a bloody messy job, but it's pretty straightforward guys. Yeah, fairly easy. So the sump pan is held up by these little, let's see if it focuses. There we go. Yeah, so it's held in by these little teeth on a clamp. And you just have to make sure it's all like lined up, and then it's actually gonna hook onto the gasket, because there's no holes around the pan, so it's sealed unit there. And it's pretty straightforward. So you just see that little groove there, and then this is where that hooks onto. So a little tooth like that. See it better there. And same with the front there. Same with that one on that corner there. Got 2 in the centre either side, and then 2 at the rear. So I wouldn't recommend a full flush, because my oil was a bit bit darker than usual, and I had a massive leak as well, so it seems to hopefully will hold together, and I'd recommend probably changing the pan if you were going to do this, because my pan wasn't the best shape and I had to basically rebend it back into shape, because I think the front end on here was leaking so bad. So I found out it was like this little bit here. You see, like, well, the before and after, it was like it was completely bent out of place. So hopefully this helps you guys if you plan on doing your transmissions. Pretty easy to do. Same with the jacking point. I'll show you the jacking point in a minute, but it's right between that rear of the subframe there. So you just got to make sure you got a good enough jack that will get on top of that. I've got axle stands both on the seals and that. So yeah, all good. I just remembered that there is one difference with one of these clips. This one is supposed to be like a heat shield for your exhaust. As you can see, it's like barely heat shielding anything at the moment. It's the right state. But yeah, it's got one of these grooves here like that instead. It's a bit bigger than the rest. And this one goes just over up on here on the right side of the transmission and slots up there. So a bit easier to remember on that one. But yeah, got the rest of them in. So yeah, just a matter of finding out what the torque specs are and then tightening up everything else around it. Got to somehow try and get this one off the sump without rounding that off. So yeah, I'd recommend if you're doing this, I've just done this to be cheap, and also had a CLK 320 as my last car, and this gasket fits directly on as it's the Mercedes gearbox, so I was quite shocked. Even the filter was the exact same as well, so I was just like, yeah, happy days, that'll do. So that'll hopefully stop all the leaks. Yeah, the torque specs for 11 newton meters for each bolt, and just going to put this stuff into it, which has been approved for it, and it's about 4 litres, and it goes into that little dipstick flange at the bottom there, as the transmission is a sealed unit. So that's something to know. Guys, there's just a few things that I want to say whilst doing this process to make it a lot more easier for you, and also there's a few things in the video I didn't get to explain just because I was rushing to do the job as well and get it on the road prompted. So when after I put the transmission oil in, I tested the car by it still being on its jack stands. If you can't get the car high enough, please take the rear wheels off. Do that just so, like, obviously it doesn't launch forward or backwards or anything like that whilst you're going through the gears and testing out the transmissions, checking that it's not slipping, checking that it is going into each gear, because you don't want to go through all this process and then find out, oh, you've made a whoopsie, or you haven't put enough oil in, or it's leaking. So just make sure you just got enough ground clearance so the car is perfectly safe to work on underneath, and you need as much room as possible to get these up. I use a 3.5 ton jack, the trolley jack. That gets it up high enough. It's a low point one, so it'd be easy enough to get underneath the car, and I can't recommend getting one of those enough. You can pick them up from Halfords, about 140 quid. You can probably pick them up second hand and much cheaper. It's just trying to just make it as cheap as possible, make it as efficient as possible, and make it work. So XK8 with the naturally aspirated model. The John from To The Garage has done a brilliant illustration in showing how to top up the transmission fluid from that perspective. It's completely different to the XKRs. The XKR is a sealed box, so you have to do it from the flange, from the top, and it recommends about 4 to 5 litres. Whilst you're in the process of the car being in the air, and you're putting it into gear, making sure that you use the J-gate and put it in sport mode, You don't need to rev it high. You do not want too much vibration because you generally do not want this car coming off the stands. So it's just light acceleration. As soon as you see the needle drop, it's changed gear and everything, and you can tell whether it slipped or not. If it slipped, then you know you've got an issue. Just keep topping it up gently and gingerly. Make sure you pull it back in park whilst you're out the car, and keep looking underneath it. Test all the way around, make sure there's no leaks or anything like that, and it should be good to go. Should be pucker. I will be also posting a video tomorrow showing you how to safely jack your car up and make sure that these Jaguars do not crush you whilst you're working underneath them. We don't want that. Like, the cars are easily replaceable, but we're not. So I will show you how to do that safely, so you won't have to worry about, oh, is this the right way to do it? No, I'll happily show that with the camera anyways. That's no drama. Last thing, I just want to say massive thanks for watching watching this video if you got this far. If you've got any queries or any questions in regard to the work of the car or anything like that, feel free to drop any comments down in the section below. Any questions are welcome. Just keep it civil. And yeah, like and subscribe. That would be great. That would be greatly appreciated. And I'll be hopefully, I keep saying this, but it's in the process. I would like to do a video of the car and doing a full review, like, of ownership of this car as well. So, like, it's been a good one. So thank you guys. Been great privilege. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.